Can you believe that Archer is the show that takes the spy genre, you know, James Bond, suave, cool secret agents, and flips it on its head? Instead of badass spies saving the world, we get a bunch of utterly dysfunctional idiots trying to just survive the day, all while somehow stumbling into world-changing espionage. But don't get it twisted, this show isn't your average spy thriller. No. This is absolute chaos, wrapped in sarcasm, and served on a platter of bad decisions. Sterling Archer, the world's worst spy. Let's start with Sterling Archer. This guy is supposed to be the world's greatest secret agent, and yet he spends half the time getting drunk, making crude jokes, and treating his colleagues like absolute garbage. Can you believe this guy has zero self-awareness? Do you want ants? Because that's how you get ants. That's Archer, the guy who somehow manages to save the day, but the whole time, he's making bad decisions, yelling at people, and basically making everyone's life harder. He's the guy who gets into a life-or-death situation and still finds time to insult his mom. That's right, the guy can barely get out of his own way, but he's still considered the best because, well, that's how low the bar is in espionage. Lana Kane, the only person who's got it together. And then there's Lana Kane. Let's be real, Lana is the real boss here. She's a competent one, the tough one, the one who keeps the mission from completely falling apart. Can you believe that this woman is stuck working with a bunch of idiots? She's smart, independent, sassy, and she has to deal with Archer's nonsense 24/7. Lana's the one doing all the actual work, while Archer's too busy sleeping around and making terrible decisions. You really gotta admire her. She's basically the only one keeping everything together, and yet somehow she's still got time to throw shade at Archer. I mean, the woman deserves a medal for surviving this job and getting through it with a smile. Mallory Archer, the cold, uncaring mother. And let's not forget about Mallory Archer, Archer's mom. This lady's cold. She's a drunk, narcissistic, and just plain terrible mother, yet somehow, she's the head of the agency. Can you believe that? She's a manipulative boss who would rather fire people than deal with anything that resembles a challenge. Her relationship with Archer is toxic as hell. They both pretend they don't care about each other, but deep down they're both equally messed up in their own ways. Archer's zero emotional intelligence gets him into trouble, but Mallory's lack of any empathy keeps her at the top of her game. Seriously, this woman is a force of nature. She's the kind of person you don't cross because she'll make your life a living hell, then forget about it in the next scene. The crew, a dumpster fire of spy disasters. Then there's the rest of the team, who are basically one big collective dumpster fire. You got Cyril, who's basically the weirdo accountant, Cheryl, the psycho secretary who's obsessed with Archer, Pam, the very physically strong but very mentally questionable agent, and Ray, who, let's face it, is only there because he's the guy who always gets hurt. Can you believe these are the people who are supposedly in charge of saving the world? These people couldn't even save themselves from a bad Yelp review if they tried. The ridiculous storylines. Can't believe they got away with it. Archer doesn't just make fun of spy tropes. It creates its own absurd universe. Each episode has these insane plots. Supervillains, drug cartels, hostage situations, and basically everything that would make a regular spy agency lose their minds. But these guys? They somehow make it through. Not because of their expertise, but because they're all too dumb to realize they should be dead by now. They'll get captured, escape in the most ridiculous way, and still end up doing something absolutely stupid that saves the day. Honestly, how are they still alive? It's like watching a car crash in slow motion. You can't look away, because you know it's gonna be chaotic and hilarious. The humor, hilarious, cringeworthy, and completely unfiltered. And let's not forget the humor in Archer. It's dark, twisted, and definitely not for the faint of heart. But that's why it's amazing. The show's writers didn't care about being politically correct. They went all in on outrageous, inappropriate jokes that'll have you laughing out loud and simultaneously questioning your life choices. Can you believe the things they get away with? The show's basically the definition of don't take anything seriously. From covert missions to spying on international criminals, the comedic timing is so sharp, you'll wonder how it never gets old. The show's ending. Who needs closure? And here's the kicker. The ending of Archer? It's a wild ride. The show keeps evolving, and the plot lines just keep getting weirder, but that's the charm of it. It's not about the resolution. It's about watching these absolute idiots just barely make it by, time and time again. It's like the show keeps rebooting itself, throwing the characters into new crazy situations with no real closure. But honestly, that's the point. Who needs a happy ending when you're just having fun watching a bunch of spies screw everything up?